to exercise their opinion. I think that's fundamentally wrong.
The women have a choice. They have a choice, but the point is they should be honest. They are not being upfront. They're saying this is religious. Now, if they say it's religious, then for me, where's the beef? Where's the proof? Now, for example, there are two verses in the Quran I'll show you clearly, and for the listeners. One verse says men should not stare at women. Now, that means, or gaze at women. So if they were covered already facially, it makes that tautologist ridiculous. Secondly, the Prophet himself has said he can't marry any other woman than the ones he has, even if their beauty attracts them. So that means clearly he was able to see women's faces.
As I said before, I think it is about scapegoating. The Jewish community went through this at the turn of the last century. They were told it's a monotheistic faith. The women cover themselves up. They have kosher meat. They have a different kind of meat. And they're a security threat as well as a cultural threat. And it was about scapegoating then. And it's the same thing. Different political parties trying to gain at the expense of scapegoating a minority. And that's why I'm fundamentally opposed to the law. In terms of, do I agree with the niqab itself? Clearly, I don't wear one. I don't need to be convinced about why, it's not a particularly good idea. I emotionally can sympathise with a lot of those arguments. But it's about saying, just because we may have strong arguments as to why we might not choose to, does that mean I would deny somebody else their right to? And that I don't think you've addressed in any way.
But they have to be honest. They're not being honest.
Do you think it's right to ban it just because...
No, I didn't say... Did I call for banning? What I'm saying, for example, the Muslims are not... The ones who wear the hijab, the niqab and the burqa, they are not being honest. They always say, it is my religious requirement. And then, as a Muslim scholar, I ask them, please, here's the Quran, show me... There's no proof. So I'm not against people wearing this tribal habit, this cultural rag, because that's what it is. It's nothing. In fact, tomorrow evening we're having a big BBC event, and it doesn't stand for the British Broadcasting Corporation. It's for the burning of the Burqa celebration. We are burning the burqas tomorrow evening as an indication of how we are disdainful and disgusted by the Saudi practice, this Taliban custom that has now infested Britain.
But isn't that a mistake in terms of sensationalism, perhaps hurting people?
No, because Muslims are quick to burn books. Salman Rushdie, they're quick to burn flags. They're quick to burn.
Are you trying to do that tradition now?
Let me finish. So they're quick to burn flags, books, and effigies. Let them first have a taste of their own medicine, and hopefully they will not do this in future. Now, I, as a Muslim imam, I'm very happy to burn this tribal rag to show it's got no holy connotations. It's not a sacred cloth. It is just a tribal rag. And for us to show quite conclusively to Muslims and to non-Muslims that this has nothing to do with Islam. This is a cultural thing. Now, if you want to talk culture, I'm very happy to talk about culture. But do not tell me this is a religious requirement.
Thank you very much. A last word?
This explains why this whole thing has got so out of proportion. And yes, I'm saddened that this is really self-publicity at the expense of disrespecting other people's choices. And I think it opens the floodgates to the real racists and extremists. Let's just respect different people's choices. Don't feel we have to impose our views and force them on everybody else.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed for that debate.
Thank you.